right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Right? How's everybody? I hope you guys are having a good week. Well, week's over now. It's Friday, so it's a weekend. But I hope everybody has done well. Uh, anyway, holy crap. We did go by fast. It's just amazing. And I'll tell you, the more time I spend with these freaking puppies, the size of them, the way how fast they're growing is just amazing to me. Just amazing. They're getting so big so fast, and they're so awesome. They're fun. I really enjoy them. So, but yeah, they're getting big. They're definitely getting big. Anyway, so before we jump into anything, I just would like to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. Um, let's try to be kind to each other. If you cannot do that, those awesome people that you see lit up in blue with the blue wrenches are going to boot you out of here because we're not going to tolerate that. All right. So just putting it out there. There will be the children that think that they can get away with it, but they'll find out they can't. So I put it out there ahead of time, so it just makes it really easy. Um, 8+ inches of rain and still raining. Holy crap, Delbert. That's a lot of rain. That is a lot of rain. We got some good rain here today too, which was fine. I don't mind. I didn't mind it at all. So, but yeah, that's crazy. Uh, I got to tell you, I just I had a memory pop up yesterday that I shared on Facebook. Okay. Yeah, my security detail. Yeah, they're going to be an amazing security detail. That's for sure. Um, I just had a memory pop up yesterday, and I brought this up a few times already, but it's just it ties everything together and it brings things home, the reality of life and everything like that. And it was 3 years ago yesterday that we were putting up, building the putting in the solar system, building the battery room, and Ronnie was down here helping to do that. And for those of you that don't know, we lost Ronnie last year. Ronnie passed away last year, and Ronnie was my age. Okay, so that one it still bothers me for a couple of reasons. First of all, Ronnie was an amazing human being, just such a giving human being. On top of everything else, and I could call Ronnie up and I could say, dude, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on that? And he always, um, you know, what I put on that we dedicated the battery room to him. And it said, always thinking outside the box, because that was Ronnie in a nutshell. I mean, he would MacGyver the crap out of stuff. He'd be like, well, what if we did this or what if we did that? And usually it worked, which was amazing. And he was also instrumental, with building the pavilion as well, along with everybody else. But um, you know, I miss my friend. And so, for that memory to come up, and it was 3 years ago already that we put that battery room in, and already had the pavilion, or I already had the camper here. And that was like the beginning of this whole journey down here in West Virginia. And, it's been amazing. But like I said, it just in the photos comes up, and it was we were there and doing that, and it was just and then of course Brian was down here, helping put get the system set up, which he's awesome as well. But yeah, it just makes me think, those things. I think about Ronnie all the time because I just can't call Ronnie up and say, hey dude, what's going on? And I'll tell you something kind of funny. So we have a group chat for our group, that we, will talk through the month, make plans, what we're going to do, blah, 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 and all that good stuff. And so Rob had asked me probably a couple of months ago, he goes, should we take Ronnie out of the group chat? His phone number. And I said, absolutely not. So whoever ends up with Ronnie's number down the road is going to be like, why am I in this group chat? But yeah, I was just like, not ready to do that yet, So, but it just makes me think of my friend and what a good dude he was and all those type of things. So I just wanted to share that with you. But um, that it's been 3 years since we really got started down here with everything. That part is amazing to me as well. That it's already 3 years. It's like, man, how did that happen? Where did that time go? And it goes fast. It goes fast. So anyway, just wanted to share that with you real quick. So what do we got? 128 in the chat already. We got 43 thumbs up. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you guys to please do that to show support for the channel, and I do appreciate that ahead of time. Also, it really makes a big difference with the algorithm, so the more interaction on the channel, the better. So I do appreciate it for that reason as well. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I want to ask you to subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well, and I thank you ahead of time for that as well. All right. Been paying attention to a lot of different things. Paying attention, it just because so many things can happen in such a short time that changes the direction of how things are going on. And the Middle East is always. I actually got a notification today. Oh, Dawn. Okay. Yeah. Um, so there's a lot of things that, like I said, I try to pay attention to a lot of different things to see what's going on and all those type of things. But one of the things that I find really, really interesting, you can watch where they'll do. Oh yeah, we'll talk about the stock market here in a minute as well, but we'll definitely want to talk about that as well. There's been a lot of movement, troop movements, and you can pay attention to the transports and stuff like that. And a lot of things are being transported right now over to the Middle East. Hey, Josh, love the channel, man. Thanks for the content. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. And thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that as well. But you have a lot of movements going on right now. Things going towards the Middle East and all that. There are threats obviously being made, uh, you know, by our government. And I will tell you what, this is one, and I got a video coming up. You'll see it tomorrow. So I don't really want to get into this part of it so much. Is one of the things I do not agree with that Trump is talking about right now. And, you know, why do we always have to have a boogeyman? Why does there always have to be, oh, these guys are the bad guys? Remember when the whole hype, and I want you to think about this for a second. The whole hype was North Korea, right? Ooh, North Korea. Ooh, we need to be worried. We need to be concerned and all that type of stuff. And I've sat on here and I said, listen. North Korea is not a threat to us. Iran is not a threat to us. They're really not. They don't have the power to do that. They don't have the numbers to be a threat to us. Neither one of them. So when they do their or saber rattling, it's all that's all it is. It's all and then our media, right, portrays them as this really bad guy. Oh, they're bad. It's a bad regime, and everybody that isn't falling in line and falling in lockstep with what we want, they're the bad guy. You ever think about that, right? You ever think about that? Now, don't get me wrong. Does the people in charge of Iran right now, do they oppress their own people? Do they, I mean, look at what they did. They had that girl that they killed because she wasn't following whatever crap that they wanted them to do. And so there was protest. in Iran because of that. And a lot of people were rising up, and so how did they deal with it? Well, they killed a whole bunch of people. That's how they dealt with it, to keep control. And obviously, it has seemed to work because all that stuff has gone real quiet over there. And so obviously, it's not a good thing. But I think in general the Iranian people are good people. Like anywhere else. I think most people in general are decent people. They want the same things that we want, folks. They want to love somebody, they want to take care of their families, they want to take care of their children, they want a decent or decent job where they can make a decent amount of money. So for us to always have to have, these are the boogeymen and these are what we have to worry about. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I believe that there are sleeper cells in the United States of America waiting for their orders to cause havoc here? I absolutely do. And I'm sure they come out of a lot of different nations, not just, you know, um, the Middle East. There's a lot of people. There are groups of people in the United States that are Americans that have bad intentions for America. So it doesn't even have to be foreign actors. There are sleeper cells here of people that are just waiting for their opportunity to do what they want to do. So, you know, there's always going to be those type of things. And, but so those are things, like I said, the one thing absolutely going to break with the president on is he says we're holding Iran responsible. They're saying Iran is financing the Houthi rebels and all those type of things, and we've seen that. Okay, and that may be the case, and it may not be the case. I don't know. You and I don't know. We don't see the paperwork on it and all the information on it. I mean, we just get the information that they're giving us. So the government says this is what it is. Does that make it so? I mean, it doesn't always make it so. Now, my thing is this, okay? If you wipe out the rebels, right, that are messing up the shipping lanes and attacking American ships and attacking freighters and all that type of stuff, absolutely. Go wipe them out. Because here's the way I look at it. You wipe them out, then there's nobody to give money to fight. Okay. And the reality is this: if Iran ever becomes nuclear, if they ever become nuclear, who are they going to use that on? Are they going to use it on us? That on Israel? Not our problem. And Israel's taking care of their own stuff over there. Things that have happened over there, um, like a lot of other scientists in Iran that all of a sudden have had accidents and they're no longer with us. Okay, so those things as buffering. I right now I'm okay. Can you guys hear me and see me okay? Back on my end, you just said, can you guys hear me okay? Every time we get into a subject that they don't want us to talk about, I'm always having issues. Yes, now, okay. Now is everything good? Okay. Yeah, isn't that weird? How anytime we get into a sensitive topic, right, all of a sudden there's issues. That's so bizarre how that works like that. 5 by 5 now? Okay. All right. That's good. I didn't have any issues here on my end. If it starts buffering here, we're off and I have to restart. So, but yeah, that's craziness. But I know, no kidding, JJ. They have certain things they don't want me saying, and if I bring up those sensitive topics that, heaven forbid, that you should think for yourself, can't do that. You can't think for yourself or have anybody encourage you to think for yourself. My goodness gracious, no, no, no. We can't have that. We can't have that at all. Anyway, um, like I said, there's those things in motion. Now let's look what's going on in the last 2 days with the stock market. The tariffs have gone into effect. We all know that the tariffs are in effect now, and I do agree with the tariffs. If you have now, I had somebody, and again, I will have to research this, and find out if it's true or not. But it must have been somebody that was Canadian. Okay, that because I was talking about the tariff on cheese. It was like 200 and something percent, and the guy said, he goes, that tariff is there, but it was never put into place. So, and I was like, okay. It's not like you're trying to indoctrinate a group of people. We're all in agreement with most stuff. Well, exactly. I'm not trying to. Well, the thing is, I've always encouraged everybody to do their own research. Always. I've always done that, and I want people to do their own research. I want them to think for themselves and look at situations and go, okay, is this guy full of crap or what's he talking about? Let me check it out for myself. And like I said, a lot of what I'm going to give you is my opinion. I'm always going to give you my opinion, and it's like, but I'm coming from a place where I try to evaluate everything. I don't believe everything that we're fed. Never have, even as a kid. I was always an independent thinker. I always questioned everything. It's just in my nature, just because I don't believe everything out of hand. So that's just kind of my thing. But yeah, the stock market has been manipulated for a long time. It's going to experience a correction that's long overdue, close uh, to the money laundering. Well, let's talk about the stock market. Okay, we had what went down 1,600 points the other day. Was down with had the problem with research that most of the things you research aren't even accurate. Well, that's yeah, there's that too. Yeah, there's that too. But has anyone in the chat heard anything about Rudy, Alaska Prepper? Is he not posting, Dawn? Yeah, I haven't even seen anything from him in quite a while. But now, so we were sitting at 200 people watching the stream, and now it's down to 159. Isn't that interesting? So they like buffered it or whatever they did, and so a bunch of people jumped out. I wonder if they'll come back. That's weird. But anyway, so you got a situation where the market lost like what 2,100 points today. Okay. No, he had surgery and then stopped posting. Ah, what was his surgery for, Dawn? Hey, Yvonne, welcome. I'm going to get my information from Dawn. I have no idea. Tom Thumb said I've lost 40K in the last 2 days. Oh, no word in months. Wow. Intestinal surgery. Ooh, that's not good. Grayman said Rudy was taking some time to be with his wife and daughter and recover. I gotcha. Yeah, he's a nice guy. I like Rudy. I've actually talked to him, and I think he's a freaking really just down to earth individual. Really, really down to earth. So, but anyway, so stock market 2,100 points today, like 1,600 points yesterday, down. In thing of because of the tariffs and all this type of stuff, right? The knee jerk reaction to the tariffs, and the stock market has somebody just put it on there. It's been way over for a long time, which I don't disagree with. Um, John D said I lost 150K in the last week, 300K in the last 3 months. I feel poor. Yeah, well, that's that'll definitely take a hit on that. But the thing, so let's talk about the stock market. What drives the stock market, right? What is the driving factor of the stock market? It's two things, guys. Two things: greed and fear. That's what drives the stock market. Now, do I think you should be in the stock market? I'm in the stock market, but that's not where I keep all my eggs, if you will. I'm a big believer in tangible goods, and I've talked about this so many times. Things I can put my hand on. I'm going to put most of my money into here and what I'm doing here. Like when I was in New York, most of my money went into the property to make it better, to make it more self-sufficient. That was kind of always been, my focus when it came to that type of stuff. The stock market is to play with money that you don't really care about. The best thing to do with the stock market, guys, for the most part, is put your money in there and then just forget about it. Don't worry about it. It's going to do what it's going to do. Um, because what's going to happen is you got like this big sell off right now, right? Everybody's selling, 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 and people get scared, right? Fear. So they'll sell. So what happens after that? Well, then all the rich people come in because they sat back and waited, and they'll just buy it up. And then when the stock market eventually goes back up, which it always does, right? Then they just get richer again. And then the poor folks that took that big hit and the big loss because they've lost whatever, they just go, oh, I'm not going back into it because it's too risky. I was always, the way I have always played the stock market is this, okay? And my daughter, I've talked to my daughter about this, okay? What I said to her was, you buy like I'll tell you what I've invested in through the years, okay? Um, was Philip Morris, now it's Altira. They had they split Philip Morris into a bunch of different companies. So I went from having stock in one company to having stock in like five different things because they split everything off. So you have like Philip Morris International, which is your European part. You have Philip Morris here. Then they took their food divisions and shipped them off. But I always liked that company because I always paid a good dividend. You could, and here's the other thing that I have always done is dividend reinvestment stock purchase programs. So what does that mean? Okay, hello, I know, I see you. You're a good girl, and you are fine, and you don't need to go outside right now. No, you don't. So you need to relax. I know, but you're a good girl. I know. I love you. Um, so you have to buy, and see, this is the thing that which is irritating about the stock market. Okay, if you're going to buy into the stock market, you have to get a broker. So what I did is I looked at companies where they had the dividend reinvestment stock purchase program. So I would go to a broker and buy one share or 5 shares or 10 shares, whatever it was, from the broker. And then I would do the dividend reinvestment stock purchase programs where you can buy directly from the company. So you get a statement every 3 months. Your dividend goes back in automatically to buy more stock. And then you can invest in there as much as you want. If you want to send them $50 a month or, 100 or whatever you wanted to do to buy more stock, you could. That way you're buying partial shares if you're depending on what the price is and stuff like that. So I had Philip Morris. I had um, Chevron, so oil company. So I did the vices, cigarettes, and food. I had Chevron for the oil. I had what's the other one? I had one of the pharmaceuticals, Abbott Laboratories, and then a couple other different things. And I tried to be as diverse as I could when I did my stuff. But the key for me was the dividend reinvestment stock purchase because I don't have to keep going through a broker. Because what the broker wants you to do, he wants you buying and selling. Because when you're buying and selling, he's making money. Okay. He don't give a crap about you. He cares about that you're spending, 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 and then he's making more money. That's all they care about. And that's reality. Okay. But utilities. Yes, I had utilities as well. I had that one. Which one did I have? I had the one. Oh my God, the one down in like in North Carolina. That utility company. I can't think of the name of them off the top of my head, but yeah, so I had all these different ones that I was investing in, and I enjoyed doing that. But yeah, it's just Duke Energy. That was, yeah. I think was it Duke. Might have been Duke. I don't. I'm not sure. But anyway, so I tried to stay diverse and different stuff like that. So because looking for what paid a decent dividend, they raise their dividends on a regular basis and all that. But anyway, the stock market is a game, and so whatever money that you're putting into the stock market, If you guys remember the crash, what was it, 2008? And it was really interesting when that one happened. Okay. Stock market crashed. All these people had saved all their lives and had all their money in there. And who was the majority of those people, right? It's all the baby boomers. All the baby boomers were getting to retirement age, and all of a sudden the stock market tanks, and then they sell, they get rid of everything because, oh my God, I've lost all this money that I've put away for years. Well, from there to now, the stock market has just, juggernauted up. Now, could that be artificially inflated? It absolutely could. Okay, but again, it just really depends on what you get into. Now the one thing that I never got into, and I still won't ever get into it, and it's just my personal choice, is Bitcoin. Won't do Bitcoin. So I mean, that's to each their own. Invest in what you want to invest in. And some people have done very, very well with Bitcoin, so good for them. But that was just never my cup of tea. So we're back up. We got 205 in the chat. We got 109 thumbs up. If you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. Again, I thank you for that ahead of time. Also, it really does make a huge difference with the algorithms. And the third thing, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications. And thank you very much ahead of time. So my thing is this: if you're going to play the stock market, play with the stock market with extra money. The majority of my money is going to go into tangible goods, okay? Things that I can put my hands on, right? Things that I can utilize, especially in a time of an emergency. Because if the lights went out tomorrow, folks, okay, and I tried to explain this to people so much. First of all, that's why I always tell people have cash on you. Always have some kind of cash. If the lights go out tomorrow and they're not coming back on, you're never touching any of your money again that you had in the bank, any money that you had in the stock market or anywhere else. It's gone. It's gone. Period. End of story. You're not getting it back. So that to me, if I have things here, if I stock up on ammo, right? Ammo's not going to devalue. It's not going to go down in price. Generally, ammo continues to go up in price. So if I have a bunch of ammo and then down the road, if I decide, hey, you know what, I'm going to sell some of my ammo, which is not going to happen. But if I did, okay, I would make a pretty penny on that because I bought it at this price back here and now it's worth more. That's why I've always told people, you know, if investing in food prices are never going to go down. They're only going to go up. So the cheapest day to buy food is today because it's just going to go up from there. So, that's again another investment. And I think those are good investments. So what do I do with my one silver? Oh, I would keep silver, Cynthia. If you can afford gold, see, I know so many people are like, oh, gold, gold, gold. Okay. But 1 ounce of gold, right? What's it, 3,000? It just lost like $67 today. So it's like $3,000 an ounce. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll take that 3,000 if I had 3,000, and I'll invest it in a bunch of silver, in junk silver, which is your dimes, your quarter, your half dollars, and then other silver coins, right? Or silver bars. And that's going to go a whole lot further in a true SHTF situation because gold and silver are going to retain their value. But here's the other thing, okay? Here's the other thing. You can't eat them, all right? That you cannot do. You cannot eat silver and gold. So again, get your basics that you need, that you want to have, and then when you can go ahead and have money to play with, if you will, excuse me, then you go and you invest in whatever you want to invest in. But you better have your stuff squared away. You really need to. I mean, I keep silver. I like silver. I've been a coin collector since I was a kid. Since I was a kid. So it's just to me, I enjoy it. I like, I think the oldest coin that I have personally, it's a 1843 Canadian halfpenny. I think that's my oldest coin that I have is an 1843 Canadian halfpenny. So that's cool to me. I mean, that coin's almost 200 years old. So I think that that kind of stuff is really really neat, and that's why I like to collect those. But like I said, if I can get out and if I'm at a flea market or whatever those type of things, and I can pick up some junk silver, the dimes and the quarters. I'm going to tell you a true story that happened to me. So I there was a flea market that was always in the same place, up in New York. This was up in New York, and they would run um, all summer long. They would every weekend they would be, all summer long they would be there. So I would go there, and I would pick up I would pick up you know the dimes and the quarters and stuff like that. The last time that I had went, which was a couple of years ago, I went in and I was looking for the junk silver, the quarters and the dimes. And these guys in these booths are the same guys, same guys. And I went there and I'm like, where's your junk silver? Oh well, we don't sell those. I go, bull crap, you don't. You sold them before, so where are they now? Oh no, we don't do that. And I just was like, and I walked away. Don't BS me. Don't tell me that you don't do something when I know that you do. And they changed their whole way that they were doing it. But yeah, you know, silver's a good thing to invest in to have. But like I said again, don't put all your money into put all your like putting all your eggs in one basket. Not a smart thing to do because you just never know what can happen. So stocking up on food and other things like that. Oh, I have a bunch of $2 bills too. Yeah, I got a bunch of those too. Um, but it's just I don't know. To me, it's just a smart way of doing things. Having things that are tangible that I can put my hands on that are going to be useful to me, right? When the time comes, and then anything beyond that, then we just kind of go from there. So that's excuse me, but that's kind of where and like even what we're doing as a group, we like go okay, well everybody's got this, that, the other thing. Um, Trying to even like with the weapons that we use or have try to keep everybody kind of on the same page. Like if everybody has a 9 millimeter, for an example, okay, which is a very common round, common, if a bunch of us have 9 millimeters and everybody's stocking up on 9 millimeter ammunition, well, you can have quite a bit of ammunition. And No, it's not allergies. I don't think I've ever had allergies, but it's like I said, that's a smart way of doing things because it's like if John's gun breaks down, well, maybe somebody else has an extra 9 millimeter. You know what I mean? So, and if we all have the same kind of ammo, they can be interchanged and stuff like that. And it's just whatever people decide to do. So, anyway, that's. But like I said, I'm a big believer in tangible goods. I like having tangible goods. Like land is a great example, right? They're not making any more of it. So if you have land and you have something that's tangible, something that and yeah, you got to pay the taxes and all that crap. That's part of the game, that you have to do. But you know, being that you have something that is there that you can do something with, and I one of the things I hated about suburbia, okay, and even in the city, I've lived in the city, I've lived in suburbia. Number one, you have all your neighbors watching absolutely everything that you do, right? They're always like looky looing, and because they're right there, and then if you do something, you inevitably one of your neighbors is going to go, "Did you get a permit for that?" I get that crap on here, right? I get that crap on here. Well, did you do this and did you do that and did you do the other thing? You know, because you have people that can't mind their own freaking business, and that's part of the problem. So when I came down here, I was looking for an area that was going to be more lenient, I guess is the right word, on things. Okay, that like no building codes, those type of things. So But yeah, but people can't mind their own business on. But so they're always hateful. They're going to try to cause trouble if they can, and that's just part of you know that's just part of what they do. So you know, again, but like out here where I'm at, it's like I said, people mind their own business because they got their own stuff going on. Any land near you, Ed? I'm looking for retirement. There's always land down here. If you're willing, to buy land, there's always land down here. Over here, farmers are already selling parcels of land. I keep a shopping list just waiting. Yeah, I hear you. No, I mean it's just, I like I said, if we get the opportunity, like we tried to get the other property next door to us, that would have been great. If we could have picked that up as a group, that would have been awesome because that would have been another 25 acres. And I remember, you guys probably remember that story. The guy backed out 2 weeks before we were supposed to close on it, which I was pissed. And because we didn't get it in writing and it was a handshake deal, right? Because I'm very old school. If I shake your hand and I say this is a deal we're going to do that deal. Uh, and then he backed out, 2 weeks before closing. So we ended up not getting that part. That property would have been, we would have had 50 acres then, which would have been great, But yeah, land has gone way, way up. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Um, but that's all part of the. Like I said, is if we can down the road pick something up, that'll be great, and that's what we want to try to do. And we'll see how it goes. But like I said, time will tell with all of it. Time is going to tell. But and again, SHTF happens. Some of the empty surrounding land around us. Well, maybe we just acquire that then, because who's going to stop us? You know, that's just kind of my thought on that. So it probably would have been better if he had sold it, but you know, we'll see what happens. Eric Johnson said, in SHTF situation, medical people like us will be an asset. Oh, absolutely. I've said before, Eric, I said, when SHTF happens, I'm no longer the nurse. I am now the doctor. Yes, mineral rights are definitely key. And that's one of the things that when I bought this property, one of the first things I asked was, do I own my mineral rights? And I do. So that I like. So if I ever find anything on here, which would be cool, I'm actually, what I want to do where the waterfall comes down, I actually want to try to pan some of that down there because I think that that would be really really neat. I have not seen Asif lately. No, I have not seen Asif lately. He's posted on Facebook. I saw him post the other day on Facebook, but I haven't seen him in the chat in a while. In 1975, I sold 100 acres for $100 an acre. That same land today sells for 20,000. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, you just, like I said, you just never know. You just don't know. And I think when you're watching more and more people are escaping, and I call it escaping, from suburbia, from the cities, and getting away and getting into better places that are in the long run are going to be better. That's why they do it. What about a video of me showering under the waterfall? Yeah, I don't know about that. Oh my God. That water comes off there pretty good. And that's cold. That water is cold when it comes off of there. So, but I think that's what he meant was 20K an acre crawfish. I think that's what he meant. If we just had a parcel, so not a, it's not wasn't really a parcel, 150 acres, had a barn on it, and I mean it sold for a lot. I mean it sold for a lot. So I was like, man, that would have been nice, but it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't a bad price that they, but that's a lot of land to pick up all at once. But but anyway, again, with everything that's going on, the craziness with the stock market, the concerns with people, I think that I think that when you're seeing the weather get warmer, more of this unrest, if you will, like the attacks with the like with on Tesla and with Elon Musk and all that, and the Tesla cars. I think you're going to see more of that ramping up again. Um, you know, I think you're going to see that continuing to get more heated. You know, a civil war in this country would be so very difficult because it there's no like when we had the Civil War here, you had lines. If you were in this state, you were in the South. If you were in this state, you were in the North. So, we don't have that clear lines like that anymore. Like I'm from New York, okay? So, New York State is very liberal state, very democratic, unless you get out of the cities. Once you're out of the cities, it's very conservative. So, because there's so many people, New York City, Rochester, Syracuse, Buffalo, Albany, those places, that's why the state goes Democratic every year. But all the rest of the state, if you ever look at the map of New York during election time, only those small areas are blue. The rest of the state is always red. But because there's so many people in those areas, that's why the state goes, Democratic every year. But there's a lot of good people up there, but you're screwed, And I had some people like, oh, you should have stayed in New York and fought for, it's you're not going to win. You're not going. So why would I want to stay someplace where the taxes are high, the weather sucks, the gun laws suck, and every time you turn around, they're trying to take away more of your rights. I mean, they got it now where by a certain date, so many of the cars sold in New York State. Yeah, New York is unwinnable. It's an unwinnable battle. You're absolutely correct. That so many cars sold in the state have to be electric cars, and then after another date, it's more, and then by I think it's I don't remember what the date was, but is all the cars that the new cars that they're selling have to be electric. Well, again, they don't have the infrastructure to do that. Number one, and number two, you're talking about New York where it gets cold, and you're going to have really bad weather. And what does not do well in bad weather? Batteries, okay? And when you're talking about a battery that's $20,000 in one of these electric cars, what are you going to do then? So it's not a realistic, doable situation. It's just not. But they put their things like they do, and you have two states right now that are having mass exoduses of people, and it's the people that have been paying forever and a day, and that's California and New York, and it's your middle class, the poor, and the people that are on the system are not going anywhere because they're getting theirs, okay? So they're getting whatever help that they're getting, and they're not going anywhere. But the middle class who's paying for everything, and even the rich, you look at California, you look at the exodus of so many celebrities and so many, millionaires. I mean, Trump moved his stuff down to Florida because, so he made his residency, even though he spends time in New York, he made it Florida because the taxes were cheaper, you know. And my thing is, I'd try imagining electric charging stations in Manhattan. Oh, I know. It's unrealistic with that many people. It's just unrealistic. And actually, if you're down there anyway, most of the people don't drive anyway down there. They're always taking the subway or they're taking a taxi or an Uber or whatever they do. But a lot of people don't even have vehicles in New York City. So, and there's another thing. I want you to think about that. Think of all those people. Let's think about this for a second. All those people in New York City that don't even own a car because they don't need to own a car, right? SHTF happens. How they getting out? How they getting out? No car. Were they going to call an Uber? you know, taxi. Yes, take me out of the city, please. With all my stuff, I got all my stuff. Yeah, it's unrealistic, unrealistic. So yeah, walking exactly. All right, what do we got? 228 in the chat. We got 141 thumbs up. God, we got like 15 minutes to go here. Can we hit 200? That's a big ask. It's got 59 to go. But let's see if we can hit 200 thumbs up, guys, just because why not? Or let's see how close we can get. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. Again, I do appreciate that. Again, it really does make a huge difference with the algorithms as well. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications. And let's see how close to 200 we can get, or if we can pop over 200 thumbs up, because why not, right? All right. And you know, JJ, that's always the prelude to the egg count. I have to do that first, and now we do the egg count. So how many eggs today? And yes or no for Miss Betty White. So I'll give you guys a moment to get your guesses, and we will go from there. So I'll give you guys a minute. And let's keep those thumbs up popping up. Let's see how close to 200 we can get before we jump off of here. Ah. But yeah, the insanity of stuff is just it's too many people live with their head buried in the sand, and they don't pay attention and they don't care. And to me, that's just like I said, I like tangible goods. Do I play the stock market a little bit? Yes. Do I keep silver? Yes. I do not keep gold. I've told you guys that. Anybody ask me, I do not keep gold. Not at all. Now, if you want to do it, knock yourself out, have a good time at it. But when it comes to the bartering after a true SHTF situation, my silver is going to go a lot further than your gold is. And again, remember the most important thing: you cannot eat it. Okay, so don't just stock up on precious metals and go, oh, I'm going to be great. I'm going to be sitting on this fortune of money and blah blah blah. If you don't have a nice stockpile of food and other supplies, you're going to be trading that gold and that silver off pretty quick to people like me in my group who are prepared. And guess what? It's going to be what rate we set it at. That's how that will go. Because if we have a whole bunch of X, Y, or Z and you want it, it's called supply and demand, my friends. It's called supply and demand. All right. Back on top once again. If you had the same exact guess as you know who, DJ, then you are 100% correct with 3 eggs today. And yes for Miss Betty White. So congratulations to DJ. You have won again. So, but there we go. So anyway, so congratulations to DJ. You've won absolutely nothing once again, but you are happy about it. So you win so much. It's just crazy how much you win. I know you had like a 2-day losing streak there, DJ. What was going on? He won like 2 in a row, and then he didn't get it for 2 in a row, and then he won today. So very funny. No, but he doesn't always go 3 and yes. He's had days where he's done other guesses and he's been dead on. So, oh, your drone broke down. That's funny. Oh my God, that's too funny. You had to get it fixed before you come back. Yeah, that's too funny. Uh anyway, but like I said, with the crazy stuff that is going on around the world, and like I said, now the distraction is what, right? Now the distraction is tariffs. Now the distraction is the stock market. That's a distraction. Don't pay attention to what's going on over here or what we're doing over here. Don't pay attention to that. You know, this is what you need to be focusing on. Don't don't be distracted, guys. Stay focused. Take care of again what you can take care of. Take care of what you can control. Each month, like next weekend is our get together here at the homestead, and I'm excited to see what we get done. I'm excited to see like Mark is coming down early to work on his place. So he's going to have a few extra days to just work on his stuff, whatever he wants to get working on and doing. That's what he's going to be doing, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing. To me, it's like When anybody wants to come down and work on their stuff, they can come down and work on it. I don't think I've ever once said, no, you can't come early. And I'm not asking them to do other stuff. Group stuff is for group time. Your individual stuff is on your own time. So, but we just like I said, we're slowly and steadily getting to where we want to. I think one of the best things that we've done, and I'll tell you, as a group, okay, as a group, one of the best things, like I just gonna talk about a couple things with with what we do. So each member of the group has to have a 3 month supply of food on site for everybody they plan on bringing down. So if they got a wife, a kid, or two kids, or three kids, and it's them, they need to have that kind of food on site for a 3 month supply of food for their family. Okay. How do we be a part of my group? You shoot me an email at preppernurse1@yahoo.com. Give me your phone number. I will call you and I will explain everything if you're interested in being part of what we're doing. Okay. So last year, so I hope that helps. JJ, would you throw the email up there for the for Tree Saw Limb? Um, so last year, one of the group members had said, what if we take and everybody pays, it's $25 extra a month, right? 25 extra a month, and that go towards group food. All right. So we voted on it as a group, and everybody agreed that that was a good idea. And so we got started. And it is amazing. I will tell you, it's absolutely amazing to me how fast you can accumulate food as a group when you got everybody throwing in 25 extra a month that's just going to be going towards food. It is amazing how much you can end up getting stocked up on that's not really hurting you. 25 bucks is not going to hurt you. And then when the time comes, we're going to have all this on top of the 3 month supply that everybody has or more, depending on what they want to do. We're going to have this stockpile of this other food that is group food. That's for everyone, and I just thought, and I'm going to give that credit to Dave. It was Dave's idea, and I just thought that that was brilliant. And we're right now, and it's almost full. It's not quite full yet. 5 50-gallon barrels, completely full of food for the group. And it's amazing to me how fast anyone in your group can food from a garden. Yes, yep, they sure do. Yep. So a lot of the group members have gardens at their own places where they're at right now. um, you know Obviously things go sideways right now. Our focus here is, we're one of the things that we want to get in this year is at least one greenhouse. That's one. Well, it would be. Let me kind of explain we have other things that we're trying to get done, but one of the things we're going to have done, we're going to have a underground and so like partly underground and above ground greenhouse. So an extended growing season. We'll be able to do cold vegetables like in the winter times, like your kale and your cabbage and stuff like that for cold weather crops. Okay. We're going to make, like, if you see like the underground where they have like the center dug out and then they have the greenhouse also on the sides and all that. We're going to have ours is going to be very very long, and we're going to build it in sections. So we're going to build the first section first, and then after that section is built, the rest is ready to go. Okay, the rest is going to be ready to go, but we have to just build it as we can. And those things are pretty neat. All right, cool. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. But We plan on having where, like, you're going to go into the first greenhouse, basically, you go through, there'll be another door, you go into the second greenhouse, and they're all going to be connected, but it's going to be like, 100, maybe 200 foot long, and be able, and as we can afford to do it, you build 30 foot at a time, or you build 20 foot at a time, and that type of thing. And that's kind of where we're at. So what do we got? We're at 162 thumbs up. We need what, 38 more? We're running out of time too. So I'm going to ask again real quick. Let's see if we can get how close to 200 we can get before we jump off of here. So if you have not shot that thumbs up yet, please do so once again, and I do thank you. Just a game for fun to see how close we can get, because why not, right? So thank you ahead of time for that. But anyway, there's another one for you, JJ. I told you the children would come out to play. So JJ will take care of that. But yeah, it's just like I said, it's everything is a process. Everything is a process. So, that's part of the game that is going to be that we have to do. So come on, JJ. There we go. He was sleeping on a switch there. At the greenhouse up in New York, Homestead, was Heather able to clear the stuff off the property? Well, the greenhouse up there collapsed. I think I told you guys that, and I know she's going to turn that into something else. So, unfortunately, that I did when we put the okay. So when I I had a lady donated the money for that greenhouse, and so she had sent me the different designs and from this place. So I had ordered the kit from the place that she had recommended. I didn't like the way we when we put it together. I didn't really like it. We is supposed to have an outer layer, which we had, and it's supposed to have an inner layer. There was never enough fabric for the inner layer, so we ended up putting other plastic up on the inside because you're supposed to have that like air pocket. I like the design of way that the geodesic dome, if built properly, could be fantastic. But the stuff that we were putting together, I just didn't like it, and obviously it didn't last. So it just I do like the geodesic design. One of the things that I didn't like about that one, it didn't have vents in the top. So when it got really hot in the summer, you couldn't just open that vent on the top and let that hot air get out. And so that was a problem. It had fans, but all the fans did was push it down. So it was never great for growing because it would be 140, 150 degrees, inside that greenhouse. It was insane. So you got to be able to open it up. The windows on the side were great, but that doesn't help with the rest of that heat in that thing. So, it's just it's one of those things that it's just the way it was. But we're going to go with the greenhouses that are partially underground. That's what we have decided as a group because we want to extend the season for growing, both in the spring and in the fall. So once we get, that almost sounds like a death trap. Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good, and but it is what it is. It's just part of what happens. But yeah, it just was not a good situation with that whole thing. But if I had to do that all over again, I probably would have gone with a different direction. You know, what do they say? The road to heaven is paved with good intentions. So, but being at higher places helps in the rain as long as you don't get too much wind. Yeah, we definitely get wind. Kind of making excuses. We had floor vents in there. We had the not on the ground floor there was vents there. Yeah, we could have added vents on the top. We could have done that, but I moved. Remember, I didn't stay in New York. 3 years ago, I was done with New York. So what happened up there after I left was not my concern, and the property's not even mine anymore. So I gave it to my daughter, if anybody remembers. But it happens. I'm focused on what we're doing down here. That's what I'm focused on now. And like I said, we have. I'm going to tell you what. I look at the progress that we have made here, and to me, it's amazing when I actually sit back and I go, really look at what we've done. We've gotten a lot done in a very short period of time. And like with the buildings and people working on their buildings and getting their stuff squared away and from where we came from when we first got started, it is amazing. It is absolutely amazing in that aspect of it. And then I think about how much more we want to get done and what we want to accomplish, and we will get there. And will it take years? Most likely, absolutely. Nothing happens overnight. New York took me 8 years to get New York where it was. So I've been here as of, I think it's August. I'll have owned this property for 4 years in August. And so when I bought that property in August, and then got the camper down here, went back to New York, spent the winter in New York, and so realistically, April was 3 years for really being here most of the time. That first year in that 3 years, I was here 3 weeks here, a week in New York, and I did that from April until November of that year when I moved down here full time. So I've been down here full time, what, year and a half in that range, something a little bit more than that now. But that's pretty much, I've been down here full time for about a year and a half. And so, it's we've made a tremendous amount of progress. I got a fantastic group of people that I'm working with down here. We are a great team, and it's dedication. It's like when it comes to prepping. Okay, prepping for some people, they'll do it and then they'll get bored or they get distracted or other things come up, and it's like it doesn't become um, a priority. I guess is the right word. Where to me, I eat, live, and breathe this stuff. This is everything I want, everything that I want to do, everything that I want to get accomplished. This is what I do. I've been living off grid for 10 years now. And so I wouldn't call I am an expert and blah, blah, blah. I've learned a tremendous amount from when I first moved off grid, a tremendous amount. And I'm still learning, but it's like coming down here, I had made a ton of mistakes in New York, and I knew what I wanted to do down here, and I knew what I wanted to get accomplished. And yeah, just the driveway's an amazing improvements. Oh yeah, and now we still got that first term. We got to address that. That's going to be later this year. That we'll have to really work on that. So yeah, prepping is a lifestyle. It absolutely is, and it's a never-ending process. And like I said, it's people end up quitting because they cannot make the transition and give up the luxuries. Oh, absolutely. Most people that move off grid, I will tell you right now, most people that move off grid, more than half with inside of 1 year are back to living on grid because it ain't easy. It ain't easy. So it's your life choice and you're happy, so that's what matters. Absolutely. It's not for everybody. And I realize it's not for everybody. Even my group members, right? This is a bug out location. And I live here full time. Steve lives here full time. But this is a bug out location for everybody else. They don't want to live here full time and live this lifestyle full time unless things go sideways because everybody has jobs and they have their own life and they have their families and all that type of stuff. And I get that. But that commitment of one weekend a month, to me, that's not that much of a commitment to think about realistically. You're not giving up your whole life. You're giving one weekend a month. So, but it's a dedication to do that. You have to get in your mind, this is important and this is what I want to do as well. So, and again, so we've had people come in, realize this was not for them. So they have either left of their own accord or they've been asked to leave. It happens, okay? It happens. It's like being in the reserves. Yeah, right? Exactly, JJ. So, but anyway, guys, what do we got? 174. So I didn't think we were making 200 thumbs up. I'm going to ask one more time here. So, again, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, let's get it at least over 180, right? So that's 6 more thumbs up. So before I jump off, let's get this up to 180 anyway. So, and I do appreciate that. But again, guys, I talk about a lot of things, but this lifestyle, doing this, being ready, it is a commitment to yourself. It's a commitment to your family, which when something happens, they may not agree with you right now. They may not agree with you right now. But in the long run, they're going to thank you for what you do and what you've done in preparedness wise. Because when something goes down, everybody that you know, everybody that knows that you are a prepper or any of that type of stuff, they're going to come to you. And then you are going to have to make the decision of who am I helping and who am I not helping. So, anyway, hello again, my child. Anyway, guys, remember STD, very, very important. Step, thing, and day. One step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you are trying to accomplish, whatever you are trying to do, if you set realistic goals and then set about to making them happen, and happen. And the only person that's going to stop you, thank you again, the only person that's going to stop you, okay, that's enough. The only person stopping you from achieving your goals is going to be you. That's it. So, again, dedication, methodical, make them happen, set those goals, and then set about. And then once you're done, it's just like the dog run. I don't have to do the dog run again. Dog run is built. Other than eventually I'll tweak the door. That'll be the only thing. But right now, it's good. So be safe, everybody. I will see you Sunday for the live stream on Sunday. Please be safe. I will talk to you all later. We're up to 185, so that's pretty cool. We actually got pretty close then to 200. So, anyway, be good. And I will. How old is Betty White? I got these chickens. I think they're like 2 years old now. I think the chickens are 2. That's why we're adding more this year. So you want to keep that fresh blood coming in at least every other year, because your chickens will age and they'll age out. So, all right, be safe. I'll see you guys later. Bye.